guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Tita's Pageantry, and for this episode, I will be giving you my brutally honest observations of the recently concluded Miss Universe 2021 preliminary competition. So please make sure you stick around, please subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant fix. I will now be discussing Miss Universe prelims for you, and I thought that everyone had this sigh of massive relief when we all got to see the stage, when we all got to see the lighting and how glossy it was, because you know, in that department, Miss Grand International definitely has been challenging Miss Universe, and I think that what they presented to us for the preliminaries is the best since Bangkok. So I'm really happy for Miss Universe that they were able to present us with something so HD, so glossy, so well thought out and well funded, because again, I think it revived our interest in Miss Universe, that it's not just me and a couple of vloggers and admins really rallying the fans to tune in. Now we are glued because we're seeing something flashy. We're seeing the glamorous side of Miss Universe, and yeah, this is something that I think a lot of pageant fans are really happy about. So that wasn't even full blast, you guys, because this is preliminary, so usually it's a lot dimmer in terms of lighting, in terms of all of the effects that were employed. So you could just imagine how grand it will all be and how fantastic the show would be come December 12 or December 13 here in the Philippines. So I really like the lighting, I love the stage, the setup. I also like the intimacy of the tables and chairs, as well as the position of the judges, because they're not just judging the ladies anymore, it's more intimate. So I also want to mention that the ladies had a super long exposure, maybe a tad bit long, but I guess for most of the contestants, this is what you wait for, to have an opportunity to have a longer exposure and convince the fans as well as the judges that you are deserving of the top 16 spot. So moving on to opening dress, I didn't really miss Sherry Hill. I thought that, you know, it was just like Sherry Hill anyway, so it wasn't such a stark difference. I'm really happy that they brought back the introduction, because we haven't had that in, you know, quite some time, and I feel that the live introduction also gives us a perspective of the personalities of these ladies that cannot be captured in just giving us, you know, beautiful photos and just giving us, you know, very short video clips. The thing that I was really not so cool with are the shoes. I thought that the shoes were just a little too dance sporty for me. I wasn't really too keen on it. Hair is okay for me, but the makeup, guys, I think a lot of the women looked sabotaged because the makeup just registered really heavy, but more on that later on. Now let's move on to swim. Now I'm not going to give you the usual top 16 or, you know, a really solid list, but I will be discussing some ladies who really stood out for me. Now the ladies paraded in their Go-Tex swimwear, and they had several designs to choose from. Our very own Beya Luigi Gomez chose a red swimsuit, while the others went for a more conservative two-piece with cap sleeves. There were others who were in a bikini that was cut high. So the feel is really very vintage. It's very vintage James Bond for me, but it also lacked, like what I've been telling you guys, a little bit of sex appeal. So I actually didn't understand the sarong robe cape thing, because the setup was just so futuristic, so modern, so looking safari-like, with all the safari colors of khakis and blacks and maybe wine, and then that cape with the animal print. I thought it was just a little out of place, but that's just me nitpicking. But more than this, here are the ones who really performed well for me. So my number one spot for swim, I'm going to give this to Miss Puerto Rico, because we have been hot and cold with Puerto Rico this time, also because of her styling. But I guess just like what we have observed with the other ladies, there are those who are not so good with their, everyday styling, but still has the goods when it comes to performance time. And I thought that Miss Puerto Rico, she was smooth, she was commanding, and she had all of the attributes of a well-trained Puerto Rican beauty pageant candidate, if you know what I mean. And I think also that a lot of the Latinas performed. However, because there were like, 80 of them, it was also very disappointing to come to a realization that the Latinas are rising in this competition because there were so many bad pasarelas. Now, my number 2 spot is also another Latina. This one is super flawless. I think my number 2 spot can just walk while both her eyes are closed, and she would still glide effortlessly. And I'm talking about Miss Colombia's Valeria Ayos. Valeria has been consistent in this competition, and what I like about Valeria is, apart from being consistent, she has a warmth that radiates, and once she is in competition mode, she gets to be possessed by the spirits of the former Colombians who did stellar jobs and stellar pasarela performances right before her. And my number 3 spot, I'm going to give this to Miss USA, and I think that she was also very lucky that she had very little time to prepare between her national presentation, national competition, as well as her international competition here at Miss Universe, because the training didn't leave her. I think she was still in competition mode. So whatever performance ideas she had for Miss USA just seamlessly translated to Miss Universe, and I thought that she was commanding on her own. And taking off her cape and just walking towards the camera, I thought that there was command there, and you get to understand why Elle was chosen as Miss Universe USA for the competition. Number 4, I know a lot of people are 50-50 with her performance, but let me try to convince you why she deserves this spot of recognition, at least for swim. I'm going to go with Miss Paraguay, because Miss Paraguay can be easily dismissed as being just a pretty face. She can be easily dismissed as someone who just looks like a fairy. But during the swimsuit competition, I really saw that tinge of fierceness, and I know that she has been practicing this a lot, and there have been a lot of video clips on social media that, she would work with her trainer and really work with providing us with a beauty pageant-worthy pasarela and presentation. Because, she's already a model, she's already a high fashion model, she's done runway a lot, so this one is very different, and I like that I saw the difference. I like that it was a brand of pasarela and a swimsuit performance that is at par with the other bigger names in beauty pageantry, and I thought she was able to deliver that. Another one that I will be giving a shout out to in terms of performance in swim, I will be giving this to Miss Chile, because when she was focused, on that screen and the camera, I thought, that's Kim K. She was really pretty. The styling had a very vintage feel, and depending on my resources and my time, I might be able to give you a side-to-side with a very similar Kim Kardashian photo shoot styling and her styling from that evening. I thought she was really, really pretty, and I also thought that what we saw of her at Miss Earth is just an elevated performance of what we saw of her here at the preliminary competition of Miss Universe. So there are, of course, those who performed, flawlessly at Miss Universe for swim as well, but I will also be giving a special shout out to Miss Bahrain. I know that she was bullied online because she was photographed and with a group of other girls who were just glammed and really tall and put together, and she had a photo that she didn't seem ready, she had a photo that didn't seem like she belonged, but she later explained that because she really wasn't ready, she just arrived. So if she looked disheveled, if she looked as if, she just passed by this group of Miss Universe contestants, then I'm glad that she was able to make up for it. She had a really striking performance at swim because she was the only one who did not wear a swimwear. So this is also my argument for those putting down Miss Universe or putting down pageantry in general, because at Miss Universe at least you have a choice. They're very respective of your religion, they're very respective of your beliefs, and you have options. As what was done to Miss Bangladesh, if I'm not mistaken, was that 2019, when she was given a choice to wear athleisure. So I think this was a really nice gesture for Miss Bahrain, and I commend Miss Universe for at least giving a display of inclusivity that isn't gimmicky. This was really just in respect of Miss Bahrain and her culture and her beliefs. So I thought that was really nice. Now we move on to gowns. Now for gowns, I just feel like, of course, they're not really as flashy because my personal taste is a mix of maybe a red carpet couture type dress with a lot of sexiness from the ones that we've been seeing at MGI. But generally for Miss Universe, there are looks that I've seen before. I mean, I'm still waiting for that Catriona moment that would really blow me away. Whoa, where did that gown come from? So unfortunately, I didn't really see that at this edition, but that's fine because, as what a lot of people say, your standards are so high. Not really. Just have my very particular taste. But with gowns, I have a longer list, but I will be giving you just the condensed version. My number one spot, I'm going to give this to Miss Argentina. I'm not really a fan of the super hard styling. She did look like Hedy Lamarr, one of my favorite actresses from the 1940s and the 1950s. And she wore the celestial gown that had starbursts, and you know, this one really catered to my constellation fantasies. That was really very pretty, and she did look like Hedy Lamarr, and she could be a Hollywood glam actress in that whole styling. Number two spot for me, I'm going to give this to Dominican Republic. That yellow gown, it was acid yellow. It looked like Mountain Dew. I thought it was really a nice yellow gown against the blue futuristic background. I felt that she really popped. It was a really nice make. Number three, I'm going to give this more for performance rather than the gown. I'm going to give this also to Valeria Ayos because, like what I've been saying, she's consistent and flawless, and that tanned skin, that golden skin is just so beautiful. The fit of the gown is impeccable. The gown itself is really beautiful. It was linear. It had a sweetheart neckline. It was actually not so different from her nationals gown. But I will note that, yes, even if she had a flawless performance, there was nothing new brought to the table for Miss Colombia. This is something that we've seen before over and over again. I know that if, you know, it's not broken, don't fix it, but it's been years of flawless performance and, you know, flawless gown choices. Maybe just mix it up. You kind of get the feeling that maybe there's just one person doing the gowns for the Colombian girls. So I'm really hoping that they step out of their comfort zone and, you know, give us something different this time. And my number fourth spot, I'm going to give this also to Miss Honduras. Miss Honduras, for me, had a yellow gown, which was a version of Maureen Montaigne's silver gown. But what gave this an extra oomph was her scarf turban thing. And you know, these are the images that I see in some countries in South America. So to incorporate that in the gown presentation together with, you know, a really theatrical yellow gown with lots of, you know, hanging details and crystal detailing, I thought that it was a really impactful gown look. And I also will be adding Miss India to my list. I think that Miss India is really charging this competition with confidence and, you know, with so much sureness. And even if this is a gown look that I've seen before from Miss India, they seem to prefer a lot of pinks. But if this is something that I've seen from Miss India, well, the presentation is a little different. You could really see fire, you could really see the fierceness, and I don't know, it's, in a way, it's a little tugigil for me because you could really see that she wants this and she's not gonna allow others to, you know, rain on her parade. And so there's that factor. not really the gown. The gown is pretty itself, but I thought that, you know, with the hourglass figure, with her aura and her attitude that she projected on stage, I thought that this was Miss India. Throughout this competition, I think we already know who would probably get into top 16. I mean, you have the consistent girls like Paraguay, and you also have the likes of Colombia and India, and also even Spain. But throughout this preliminary competition, there are two ladies who really rose above that I wish would be given more of a platform or a chance to really showcase their goods. I would like to really see Miss Belgium up there. I thought she was really beautiful at the prelims, and I also want to include Miss Costa Rica. Not a lot of people talk about her, but I thought that she had a really solid performance as well. Now, despite everything, here are the ladies that I'm a little 50-50 with. Will they get in? Won't they get in? I really don't know. Miss Brazil for me is just the whole package. Beautiful, blonde, great body, you know, very personable. But I thought that her pasarela was tentative, it was wobbly, and, you know, honestly a little embarrassing because Adriana Lima from Brazil was there. So yeah, I hope that despite that, Brazil can still penetrate. Miss Spain also, I think that both her performances were really, really strong. It's just that, you know, she faded because her styling was just so thick and so strong and heavy. So I hope that since that's just a styling issue and not a performance issue, that they could rectify this come finals and soften her up and, you know, still give the same intensity in her performance. Despite everything, I hope that Japan gets to penetrate top 16, and I really feel strongly about her because even if she didn't really resonate at the prelims, I know that once the judges get the opportunity to listen to her. And then for Thailand as well, I hope that she still gets the chance to get in because unfortunately this preliminary performance of Miss Thailand is just a little lackluster. So yeah, I hope that she gets the chance to really showcase what she has to say because she does have something to say. She has a voice. But if you come right after Amanda Obdam, who, you know, just lit up the room, of course there are expectations for you to do the same. Now, it doesn't really matter about her pasarela anymore or about her weight or about her physical appearance because that's already a given. This is already something that we have known about. So I think on this aspect, she does get a free pass. What I'm missing from Miss Thailand is the fire. I'm not quite seeing her really go for it. So if she gets the chance, then I hope that she will have a change in personality or maybe demeanor come final. Hey, now let's go to this segment you're all waiting for, and this is an assessment of our very own Beya Luigi Gomez. So I'm gonna start with her introduction. Now, for introduction, she was in a silver dress. I thought she looked pretty in the silver dress, and I think you really don't have a lot of room in terms of standing out in the dresses that are handed to you, but I thought she looked really nice. Now, let's talk about her hairstyle because this is a very polarizing hairstyle. Personally, this is not my cup of tea. I'm not really into that hito hairstyle going on. But I definitely understand now why they allowed Beya to be styled that way. It really made her stand out because all of the other ladies had simpler hairstyle, either hair up or hair down. Is this something that I personally like? No. I would have really wanted something more severe for Beya, like maybe hair up that's really a tight bun, a tight top knot. But I don't know, they had to add the bangs and they had to add something extra there. But I'm just saying that adding, you know, bangs won't really do much to your presentation because it's still going to be dependent on your movements. So for that, I think that was really minor for me. And if the team is now looking at the comments and, you know, sifting through suggestions, then maybe they would get the feel if they could retain the bangs or maybe do something different for the finals. However, my source tells me that she will definitely go for the stick straight hair come finals. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Now for swimwear, she opted for a red swimsuit, and I really like the choice. And I think Beya would have chosen a different swimwear, but she mentioned in her live session with Miss Singapore that by the time she chose her swimwear, all the other styles were no longer available. I don't know, she picked this one and I thought it was a really good choice. It pretty much was like an extension of her look from Miss Universe Philippines just from a couple of months back. Now, when she walked from like the back part of the stage, you know, moving forward, she was not wearing her sarong or her robe. She was just clutching it, and I had to play the video several times. First of all, the execution is really clean. She did not stumble. I think the core of her training for pasarela was there. It was on display. Were there fireworks? No, there weren't fireworks. We did not see any fancy footwork. We did not see any fancy turns. We did not see a change of facial expressions. For the Filipino fans, what Beya served us is already enough. Knowing our history with the organization, knowing how Beya has been conducting herself with her fan base, we don't know a lot of what's going on. So what they served us is something that we devoured, and it's something that we accepted. We understand where Beya is coming from. We understand the dynamics. They're not really very generous in revealing the game plan, and apparently we're not supposed to even ask about it. But from the performance of prelims, I thought that it was enough for Beya to be propelled into the top 16. But had it not been for our sash factor, had it not been for one Filipino judge there, had it not been for the Filipino support, I think Beya would have a more difficult time in penetrating. What is saving Beya from this swimsuit performance is also the fact that she remains steady, she remains solid, and that most of the ladies around her are just not performing quite up to standards in terms of pasarela, in terms of posture, and in terms of their overall presentation. Had her competitors be at the same level as the competition, say in 2020 or 2018, I think Beya would be in danger as well. But of course, this is Israel. We also have to factor in other things like friendly relations, huge fan base. That, if it's just that and no other other recipes to make a candidate successful, yeah, I think that this was so safe, but could potentially help her get herself to top 16. Now let's move on to her gown. Her gown was made by Francis Libiran, and it was a red gown. It was asymmetric with cutouts and a lot of beaded details. The gown itself is something that I like. This is a gown design that isn't really mind-blowing. I think we've seen these types of gowns before. What matters is that Beya looked really long. She looked commanding. Her strides were clean. And again, she didn't really deviated from her training. What she was taught was what she executed. Could it have been more? I think it could have scored higher. Had she played with her features, had she played with her eyes. There were so many personas that she could have brought to the table because her gown had a very James Bond feel to it. So had she played more with her facial expressions, I think this would have been more successful. Now, will Beya be part of a solid top 16? Yes, I believe that Beya will still be a shoe-in for top 16. But she really has to also work on this even further, because for us, this is already acceptable. For the pageant fans, for the international pageant fans, the whole performance would seem lackluster, especially because we are Philippines. We're supposed to set the bar really high. We're supposed to be a leader when it comes to creating buzz on social media. And right now, even the strong Philippine fan base can't do that because we are all seeing that our girl is performing the best she can, and our girl is performing the way she was trained without adding more value, without adding an element of surprise. So if this element of surprise is something that they are waiting for up until the finals, then I hope that it is surprising enough and convincing enough for Beya to get into top 5 and eventually get into top 3. So